I want to get back to that breaking news of the brush fire in Montecito Heights. LAFD ground and air crews working to put out these flames. We told you about this just a few minutes ago. It's called the Monterey Fire. It is in Ernest E. Debs Regional Park near Monterey Road.
We were talking about how, SkyCal taking a live look over the scene here. Really a lot of flames and really heavy brush. Seems like the winds have been fueling this one to burn more uphill. You can see all the crews there right now trying to put this out. We know, at least at this point in the firefight, as you see one of those water drops there on your screen, that there are no homes being threatened, but one of those pretty successful fire drops, as 3 helicopters, we've learned, are working on this fire.
Yeah, and important to note, once again, reiterating that there are no evacuation warnings or anything like that at the moment, no structure threats at the moment, according to LAFD. So again, this is very much a work in progress at the moment. You see it there with all the smoke and the flames. It does look rather intense, as all fires obviously are, but the response is heavy at the moment and continual as we keep an eye on the situation. We're obviously working to get more information for you, working on getting someone on the line here shortly, and when that gets settled in.
Because we don't know yet just how many acres have burned. Of course, that's a question that we are trying to figure out for you, in containment, if any, right now. But if you are familiar with the Ernest Debs Regional Park, that area, this is near Monterey Road. So more in the, again, park side, it appears, and less on the residential or near homes. So if there's any good news for that, at least at this point, it's that there are no homes being threatened.
And Hunter, you made this point earlier. Obviously, you see the response on the left side of your screen. You can see it down below there from SkyCal. Again, this is live right now. And then we were seeing crews a little bit closer to the actual flames, getting things knocked out. But this gives you a better perspective as to how large the fire is. Obviously, we don't know exactly the acreage, but hard to tell if it's any more than a handful of acres at the moment. But with those multiple helicopters fighting the flames right now, crews on the ground as well, we know how they like to operate, and structure protection is, of course, top priority, as well as trying to knock down these flames. But progress is being made. At least the work we're seeing right now is ongoing.
And of course, we have to think that, the weather that we've had recently, Olga's been tracking cooler than normal temperatures. That has to work in our favor. We didn't hear her mention anything about the extreme winds, at least in this area, but we do know that, of course, every microclimate is different, and they are reporting there on the scene that there is some wind that is pushing this uphill. As you can see, it looks like a tree now going up in flames there, Gio.
And I know we were just being told we are working on getting Brian Humphrey with the LAFD on the phone. Just to clarify, do we have him yet, or we're still working on getting him at the moment right now? No, we have him right now. All right. Brian, can you hear us all right? I just want to check in, make sure our connection's strong, and that we have you on the line here with us. We're going to keep working on that connection there just shortly, as SkyCal gives you another look at the helicopter there and a water drop. Perfect timing.
I was going to say.
And let's go ahead and see if we can check in with Brian Humphrey with LAFD. Brian, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, Hunter, Gio can hear you just fine. Go ahead, please.
Perfect. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time this evening. Obviously, first things first, what do we know about this fire so far in terms of size, in terms of response, anything you can tell us right now?
Well, thankfully, a multitude of 911 calls started at 7:52 this evening, bringing more than 120 Los Angeles firefighters now by ground and air to the Ernest Debs Regional Park. This is in the Montecito Heights area of Los Angeles, and roughly a 282-acre park currently has 3 to 5 acres burning. This is light to medium brush. It's burning now into a little heavier brush, as we can see. The fire is being driven by 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds. The good news, there are no homes threatened, there are no evacuations, and none of the park's critical infrastructure is currently threatened.
That is certainly good news. I mean, do we know at this point personnel? I mean, how many do we have out there? We were being told several of those helicopters working from the sky, but they don't seem to be hindered by those winds, at least at this point.
Well, thankfully, winds are minimal. These are typical winds for this time of year. And interestingly enough, today is a low, among the lowest fire hazard days for wildfire in the city, just showing us how volatile this brush can be, even with just 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds. The helicopters came out of our Van Nuys heliport, are hitting this fire systematically, one after another, to control the edges of the fire and forward movement to protect it from getting to any of the ridge lines where it might spread. This point in time, thankfully, again, no injuries, no structures threatened. and the fire will certainly keep us there busy tonight.
And I want to circle back to the weather one more time, because you made a brief moment there about how it's not quite, in terms of fire weather, critical at this very moment. And Hunter made a point about we're at below average temperatures right now. How much of that, if any, is a help given the conditions and what firefighters are dealing with right now, but we're looking at?
Well, when it comes to wildfire, wind is king, as we certainly saw in the Palisades and Eaton fire, and we're far, far from that at this time. The concern here is the volatility of the brush. And as we see this palm tree and other natural vegetation and others that's been brought into the park over the decades, this is very dry, very volatile. So the brush's volatility is one of the significant concerns here. And as we see here, a perfect picture of the ember cast that causes these fires to spread, which is why we're asking people to take advantage early on this season to get their homes and their families ready for wildfire, even if you live far from an area historically prone to such places.
I mean, this is just a perfect example, as you said, of just, what can happen when conditions are actually working in our favor. We can still see issues like what we're seeing right now. I'm curious, it's maybe far too early to be able to tell us any kind of insight as to how exactly this started. Do we have any idea, where or how this ignited?
None of the several 911 callers reported any particularly suspicious activity or eyewitness accounts of how it started. But our investigators who are currently en route to the scene will be looking into that and talking with some of those callers to figure out exactly what happened and when.
And one more, Brian, before we let you go, but based on the tone of this conversation, obviously you already mentioned that this is going to keep LAFD busy throughout the night, but it doesn't seem like anything's really out of control here. Do you get the sense that, this is well, given the response and given everything that we're looking at right now, this is well under control, or will be well under control as the night continues on?
It certainly is well under control. And one thing I want to mention before I go tonight, this fire is just 3 to 5 acres. We'll have the forward progress stop very shortly. One of the other things happening tonight is the SpaceX launch in the sky. So if people see this strange light in the sky, it's not related to the fire. It's not embers. That will be happening in about 20 minutes to the west. But this fire, again, in northeast Los Angeles, is being controlled. And we don't have a containment figure yet, but we'll be there throughout the night watching hotspots and mopping it up.
Got it. Thank you so much, Brian Humphrey with LAFD. We appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time on this Saturday night. Thank you.
All right, we want to turn now to Olga because, of course, Olga, we know just how critical it can be to have that weather working in your favor. And we heard him say that, thankfully, winds are normal in that area. So that's certainly only going to help with this firefight.
Exactly. Winds are pretty light across Southern California. So I want to kind of show you the big picture. We have some gusty conditions across some of our deserts. But other than that, things are looking really good. It's been a day of well below average temperatures. And for the area Montecito Heights, that's going to be near LA, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 60s, and right now winds are from the south at 5 miles per hour. Humidity is way up at nearly 70%. So really no kind of weather issues with these fires, but of course, always a danger when we get these fires popping up. But weather-wise, conditions are actually looking very favorable.
All right, Olga, thank you so much. We're going to go back to SkyCal right now, just to give you another look at that fire as we continue to monitor the situation. But obviously the good news here, it's never good news, obviously, when you see a fire, but within the context of everything, it at least is trending in the positive direction. So we're going to go to a commercial break here. We'll come back with more information after this.
Stay with us.